Good morning, everybody. Check it out. Real pretty morning. Right before sunrise, we're going to get out there, head out into the Gulf. There's not a lick of wind right now. Hopefully we don't put that in the universe that it picks up at all. It's supposed to this afternoon, but hopefully we'll be done by then. But this is my 24-foot bay boat. My name's Steven with Bama Saltwater Fishing. Let's get out on the water and get to our fishing spot, everyone. Let's go have a good time. That's a pretty sight right there. Lots of boats, everybody going out to have a good time, and a gorgeous sunrise. Wow. So we just came out to 100 feet deep, and it's over a sunken army tank. If you watch my previous videos, you know that the state has put out a bunch of decommissioned M60 army tanks a while ago. I mean, like in the 90s. Instead of letting them rot in a desert or somewhere, they decommissioned them, strip the oils and stuff, and drop them down, and now they make excellent fish habitat. Some of them you can even see the barrels on. If you watch my previous video, I fished over one that had a barrel you could see on the depth finder. But simple setup today for our red snapper or whatever wants to bite. This is bird of prey, 1/2 ounce circle hook jig with some 50-pound fluorocarbon leader, Penn slammer 6500 with 50-pound Nomad 8-strand Panderra braid. And this is a 6-foot Nomad jigging rod, but it works great for this setup. It's very strong, and then if I wanted to, I can go throw a jig on here as well. But we're going to get a live bait out of here. I caught these yesterday. Look at that, nice live baits. We're going to get one of these Croaker. This is a big one, typically bigger than I like to use for snapper, but we're after big fish today. Not just any fish, but big ones. So take this Croaker, hook that circle hook through the nose, and that's a solid bait. Let's drop this down, see if we get something. Chop it down about 25 feet, because that's where I'm marking them. Good thing is this braid changes color every 30 feet. So real easy to keep up with when bottom fishing or even trolling. Keep my finger on the line very lightly. Oh, something just grabbed it. Let it get tight and then start reeling. Yes. Yeah. We got him. Big fish. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, yo. Big fish. On the whole Croaker. First drop. Steady pumps. There are tax men out here. Always got to pay your taxes. Get up here, bud. Hopefully the camera's filming good. Oh yeah, that's a nice one. Oh, is that a mangrove? Dude, that's a mangrove snapper, and it's huge. That's a big mangrove. I'm just gonna gaff it real quick. Makes life easy. That's a giant mangrove snapper. Oh man, on the live Croaker. Yeah, that's sweet. What a mangrove snapper on that bird of prey circle hook jig. That is a stud mangrove. I'm gonna put it on the boga grip and get a weight on it before it bleeds out. I think this one's my biggest one so far. Wow. That is incredible. I mean, first drop with that Croaker. Live bait, circle hook, and a lightweight catches these big ones. How sweet. Let's get the boga grip on it. It's only a 1/2 ounce jig. That's it. Real easy. Bird of prey will be linked down below if you want to pick those up, by the way. But let's get a measurement. And 14 pounds. That's my biggest one yet. How incredible. I think it's safe to say that big baits catch big fish. Whew. I'm gonna grab another one of them Croaker. Croaker are such excellent baits for all species. Trout, redfish, AJs, cobia, snappers. I mean, they work excellent. And I think because they're very abundant, but also that noise they make. They stay on a hook well, but that noise, the croak, That's what does it. Seems to tick them off. Once again, live croaker, circle hook jig, about 25-30 feet. Hopefully the camera angle's good. It's a little windy. Had to face into the sun because of current. And also fighting some big fish. Oh, yep, something's about to hammer it. It is getting scared. When it starts shaking like that, that means something's swimming around it about to eat it. Okay, something just hammered it. Start reeling. That's all you have to do. Just start reeling. Put pressure on them, and that circle hook will set itself. Come on now. Let's find out what you're gonna be. There you are. Okay, there's a keeper red snapper. Ooh. Oh, and the hook came out. Sweet. Calm down, you. This is my fish spike from AFCO. Go right in between the eyes. You'll put them out of their misery. They'll still have residual movement, nerve movement, but not feel any pain. Okay, keeper red snapper on the second drop, second croaker. Pretty easy fishing today. These things, you allow two a person, they're highly regulated. Look up the season in your state, and they don't have to be 16 inches. He's gonna go in our fish box and we'll keep on dropping down. Setup's putting in work today. Check my leader. It's not frayed, knot still holding up, which I do a loop knot on there. That's what I do. Gives it more freedom of movement, and I think it sets easier too. Let's see what else we got. I have one more croaker, then the rest is all pinfish. Drop down another croaker. Hear him croaking. Okay, circle hooks through. Here we go again. I loosen my drag up a little bit for the initial bite because braid doesn't have stretch, fluorocarbon doesn't have hardly any stretch either. But as soon as I know they're hooked good, I'll cinch that drag down. Drop it down to the same color that I was at. I mean, this has been back to back. First two baits, first two drops. Oh, there it is. Oh, pulled it out of its mouth. Yep. I jinxed myself on that one. Oh, still good, cool. What the? Something snacking on it. Oh, it just got it. Did it let go? Nope, it didn't let go. It's got it. There we go. This fish feels pretty good. Pretty good. You know, it's motivating to see that line at the top of your spool, because that's when you know it's getting close versus being way down there. Okay, there's my leader. Oh, it's another red snapper. Woohoo! Whoa, that's a big one. Shouldn't have boat flipped him, but I got a red snapper limit now. Sweet. That's a good one. Let's throw a jig. Change it up some. I mean, these false albacore little tunies are busting all around me. Oh, like that. And I got a little Nomad Ridgeback long cast with 50-pound fluoro leader, but this isn't a 3/4 ounce on my Inshore setup. Just gonna swim that thing to me. Let's see if a little bobo will come up and eat it. I mean, they're all behind the boat. Go. Oh, come on. Got it. Yes. On the little long cast jig. Great way to catch bait too, like if you need some strip bait. Bonitas are excellent strip baits. There's a little bobo. They're different than your bonita on the in the Atlantic. Those are bonito and those are delicious. Come on. Get on up here, man. Little toonie. Wow. We got some unk to them. Boom. Whoa, my gosh. What a beautiful fish. I'm gonna save these for bait. Throw them in the freezer because they're expensive in tackle shops. But if you need to buy them, Hooked Up Bait and Tackle usually has some. But that's your little false albacore or a little toonie. And then spray down this deck. Dadgum, them bloody things. Bloody suckers. You can eat them. Have friends that eat them. We used to catch a lot off the state piers. Now this was on a Penn Clash 2. And this is a 3,000 size with 15-pound Nomad braid, 7 foot 6-inch, 20 to 30-pound line rating shore rod. Check our leader. I wouldn't mind catching another one of those just because they're fun. Cast. I like to let it sink some and then just reel up and jig. Let it sink, reel up and jig. I see him. Oh, right here at the boat. Right here at the boat. There he is. Oh man, they got that smoker run. They're in the mackerel family. So related to king mackerel, Spanish. It's a Scombrede family, if I pronounce that right. Come here, Hugh. See why they're fun on light tackle? Be fun for anybody in the boat or off the pier or off the beach. Just because they're hard fighters. Fast swimmers. Come here, you. All right. Got another one. And my jig popped out. Sweet. I'm just trying to save up some bait. They're gorgeous fish though. Check out that in the sun. And then their fins fold perfectly, just like tuna do. Look how their fins fold in. Very fast and hydrodynamic. Everything I use, I link down in the video description below. And just so in case you missed it or you don't want to rewind or whatever, you can go in the video description and see exactly. Or if I mispronounce stuff with my deep south accent, anyway, then it's in the video description, like the rods, the reels, the line, the lures, etc. Just to help y'all out. Let's keep on casting this Ridgeback jig at these bobos. Man, that sucker casts far. That's what I like. If you know me, I love to have something that I control and cast at the same time for big game and also jigs. I love having something shiny for toothy critters like Spanish, bonita, kings, mahi. Oh, there you go. It's a nice one. Nice little fish here. He hasn't pulled any drag, he's just swimming right at the boat. Get him up. Oh man. Oh, that sucks. I don't know what I did. I must have had a nick in that line from yesterday because it broke. Well, that's a sign to go back in or go back closer. See, I like to be honest with y'all. It's not always just every cast is a drop or every drop is a fish. I mean, earlier with the live bait, like just a minute ago with the live bait it was. But you know, scenarios like this and then a lot of these fishing videos, don't get discouraged if you go out and don't catch anything. I mean, it takes a lot of hours to get out, catch fish, a lot of years of experience of fishing in these waters. And even I get skunked a lot. So just like to keep it real with you. Like for scenarios like that, when I got the hook in my hand, embarrassing falling out of the tiller-handled John boat. So I'm gonna head back a little closer and maybe troll a mad scad near the beach. North wind, the beach should be flat. Boom. Now we're trolling. Pretty much stopped everywhere that I like to troll and haven't got anything on the troll bite. I have a fish bag full of just some amazing fish. Such a blessing to get out. So I'm probably going to head back to the boat ramp and then go to the cleaning table, but I do want to weigh that fish on a scale just to see, because I think that's my biggest one so far in mangrove snapper wise. I did bleed it out, but we'll get a weight on it when we get back. Yeah, look at those. That's some awesome fish. Check out how big they are. So you seen me clean red snapper before. I've cleaned mangrove snapper, but this is my biggest one so far. So I'm gonna clean this one and we'll cook it up. But we're on the bird of prey tailgate cleaning board. That bird of prey jig got them, and they got to come meet the rest of the family here. I'm just kidding. We're gonna get into cleaning these, but that is a big one. Huge, average size, and another big one. Let's get after it. We're gonna take our 9-inch sword flexible fillet knife and get this sucker filleted out. I always like to go behind that pectoral, find that soft meat, come up to the head, and this one's gonna have some nice cheek meat in there and a nice collar as well. But first we want to separate that fillet all the way to the back. Sharp knife helps a lot, and you'll see me do that a lot. That's just getting the scales off the edge, because I don't care how sharp the knife is, if you got scales blocking your cutting edge, it's going to be difficult to cut. Now all I'm going to do, see, wow, look at the color of that meat, and that's connective tissue. But what I'm going to do is I pull back with my thumb and very carefully guide that knife along the bones. See, you don't miss anything. They're very easy to clean. Now from here, they got their spine. Ooh, I don't know if y'all can see these no-seams, that's insane. But they have their spine right there. Now what you can do is flip it over, go back from the bottom to the top. But I'm just gonna lightly go over that spine, just with the tip of the knife, and then go back down and over. And then we can poke through and just fillet it right off. And see, this fish was spiked and bled, which means spiked, you put it out of its misery by spiking the brain, and this is for educational purposes. And then cut the gills and behind the pectoral fin, and you bleed it, and you'll have a pretty clean fillet like this. I haven't taken the water hose and sprayed the meat. Obviously I've sprayed the slime off, but not the meat. Got a thick rib cage on a fish this size. So we'll flip it around. Just guide your knife, don't force it. That's how you dull your knife, and that's also how you cut yourself. See, that's all I'm doing is guiding my knife down. There we go. Once you get through those pin bones, go through and make sure you get some of this belly meat. And then this is stomach lining we'll trim out. Cut that off. And there's a big mangrove snapper fillet. I think this is the biggest mangrove snapper fillet. Well, I know it is that I've held. That's awesome. And see that? No miss meat there, none here. That rib cage and this collar will come off after we're done with the fish. Let's go ahead and get these cheeks out while we're on this side. See, they have cheeks. You just feel it softly. That's hard, that's soft. And I'll take the back of my knife, just get the scales off of it. See that? And then we'll take the smaller one and get these cheeks out. Same thing with like grouper cheeks. On a fish this size, you want those. They're sweet and delicious. And just feel around, work your knife around that bone. And you will pull that sweet nugget of a meat out right there, called the cheek. Skin that off. And there's a mangrove snapper cheek. Do the same thing with grouper, but see, look at that. There's a lot of meat that you'd be throwing away if you didn't get the collar, which is their throat, or if you didn't get that cheek. And the same thing up here, we pretty much got most of that head meat. I'll make a good fish stock out of the head. That's gonna go in the crab trap. And it's the same thing for these red snapper too. When they get of size, they got that cheek. They're in the same family. Now we'll get this collar off as well. I like to take some shears and get that collar. Serrated knife you can use as well, but shears is pretty easy because you just got to get through that bone structure. Whew. This one has some thick bones to it. thick bones. That's funny. Okay, well, that was unplanned, but I got my sword serrated. Got to break through those. There we go. Go up behind that gill. Hear that? Cut through. So all this right here on the collar is just the stomach lining. We'll peel that off. But that right there is a lot of meat. Very sweet meat underneath these fins. And look how thick that is. And it's the same thing for these fish right here. So you got your collar. We got our nice mangrove snapper cheeks. Put those there. And now it's time to get our fillet. Take our fillet knife. Just run it parallel to the cutting board. Get enough to where you can get a grip on it. Cut it right off the skin. Look at that. And we'll trim some of this red meat out when we get ready to cook it. But that is a big slab of mangrove snapper. Wow. There's some connective tissue we'll get off. And just trim it up. I'm going to clean the rest of these and then we'll get to, and then we'll figure out how we want to cook them. So we'll see you there. Yo, we are inside the next day and have some awesome ingredients that we're going to fry our fish in. And my dogs are barking, obviously. That's a never-ending thing. They're dogs, they're gonna bark. Oh no! So I do not take fresh water from the tap or the hose and directly rinse my fish off. I will take the fresh water, put a whole bunch of salt in there. Make sure it's super saturated, put some ice in there, and then I'll rinse it off. And it will firm up that meat and also make sure it doesn't lose any of its flavors. Saltwater fish, if you can help it, try not to rinse it in fresh water. If you have no other choice, it's not going to hurt it or really alter the flavor too much, but you'll see a big difference in freshness, especially if you freeze it and try to preserve it. And then the next key step, make sure it's dry before you store it. I like to vacuum seal stuff, and it has to be dry. Water feeds bacteria. I'm not a scientist, but pretty much long story short, you want it to be dry. So that's what we're going to do with all of our mangrove snapper. Then we'll trim it up and I'll show you what ingredients I use for our batter. It's going to be delicious, everyone. Now I have all my fish chopped up into pretty bite-sized nuggets. And there's the collar I split in half. But here's just a quick ingredients list, and we're going to mix all this together. Have some methi seed that I've crushed up, cumin powder, coriander powder, garam masala, turmeric powder, salt, chili powder, crushed up garlic, crushed up ginger, lemon, curry leaves, some serrano chilies chopped, and a white onion. Set the curry leaves, the lemon, the onion, and the serrano chili aside. Then everything else is going to get mixed in with some cornstarch and all-purpose flour. Ideally, chickpea flour is best, but I don't have any and I couldn't find any today, so we're just using that. And then we'll mix a little bit of water in there, make a nice paste. So I say marinade, it's your marinade slash batter for the fish. But this is a consistency you want. Kind of like a tempura batter or beer batter consistency. Like a heavy, heavy cream. And you want it consistently mixed up to where you don't see each individual ingredient. Oh man, that smells so good. I mean, that's an explosion of flavors and spices all together. We're going to pour it over our fish and get our fish nice and coated. Now that our fish is nice and coated, see, that's what you want it to look like. Good, nice marinade slash batter. We're going to cover this up, go down, and start heating up our cooking device so we can fry them. It's going to be delicious, everyone. Wish y'all could smell that. But check that out. Nice, good coating. So I got my traditional Indian G-Co. It's just a little stove that you put your fuel on top and your starter down there, and you can get it pretty hot, and it's perfect for a wok. I enjoy cooking with it because if I'm out of propane, I can still use it, and you get direct heat, and who doesn't like to do traditional ways of cooking? So let's go get our ingredients and bring it down and get ready to cook. Put our wok on there, and I have some vegetable oil. You can use peanut oil You can also use ghee, but use what you have readily available. It's gonna be a deep fry, so you need that oil. And that shouldn't take long to warm up at all. It's pretty high heat. In just a minute, once it gets pretty warm, we'll do our curry leaves and our serrano chilies. And that's gonna flavor that oil. So when we add our fish in there, there's even more flavor. But something about being outside, cooking on this traditional with wood fire stove pretty much, it amplifies the flavor. I don't know if it's mental or not, but the environment is awesome. And I think you're a product of your environment. Fresh fish straight from the Gulf. Beautiful bay out here. Awesome weekend, everybody enjoying the water. And we're cooking some fresh fish. We've got our curry leaves and our chilies pretty much fried. Lay these out on our towel. And now it's time to put in our fish. We want to be very careful. Perfect. That's what you want. You want it to start frying. If it doesn't sizzle when you put it in there, the grease isn't hot enough. We'll give that a few minutes, and I got some paper towels on a plate, so when we put them on the plate, that oil drains and they'll be ready to eat once they cool down. Let these cook, and I can't wait. It smells good. These are almost ready. Almost ready. See how they're getting that brown on there, and they're turning, and the meat's turning white. That's what you want. We'll let them brown up a little bit more and pull them out. Let that oil drain. Wow. The flavors that you can smell. I mean, the spice mix, the curries, God, smells so good. If you've ever eaten Indian food, you know what I mean. It's a lot of spices, and I'm not talking about like boxed curry. I'm talking about fresh garam masalas, curries, stuff like that. It is delicious. Those are ready. Let these cool down. Can't wait to eat them. They smell amazing. Like I just walked into a kitchen in Kerala, India. Yeah, so I have my fish, some of that fresh chopped onion, and my lemon. I'm out on my back porch just because of the scenery. It's gorgeous. It's toasty, but it's beautiful. All the boats coming by, everybody having a good time. We're about to eat some fresh fish. Mangrove snapper and most fish doesn't require a bunch of spices like I did, but I just like changing it up. So that's why I did that. It's a perfectly fine fish with just some salt, pepper, olive oil, and whatever other spices you want to throw on there. And pan sauteed. But I'm gonna give this a try. It should break apart nicely. Oh yeah, look at that. Freshly fried. Let's give it a bite. Those flavors just suddenly explode. Let me finish chewing and my dog's barking. Wow, that's an explosion of spices that work extremely well combined together. If you wanted to make it a little sweeter, you can add some tamarind. But dadgum, that's good. I'm gonna give another bite. Crunchy. Cooked perfectly. That is tasty and fresh. Thank you, Lord, for that blessing of a meal and allowing me to catch that fish. It didn't go to waste. I shared a lot of meat with my neighbors. And I gave a lot to some friends as well. And then I vacuum sealed some, but I'm sitting in my old bean bag. This is for the boat. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. It was very fun getting out there and catching some fish. Catching that live bait right there in the backyard and then taking it out the next day. Waking up real early, getting out there. 3 drops, 3 awesome snappers, including a personal best for me. That's awesome. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, smash that subscribe button and that thumbs up if you are not subscribed yet. But if you are already subscribed, I appreciate you as always. I continue enjoying sharing these experiences, tips, tricks, recipes, and whatever with each and every one of y'all. I love sharing the whole experience from the prep, the launch, the boat, the trip out there, catching fish, and showing you what to do with it when you come back home. All of our partners and Hooked Up Bait and Tackle's address and phone number if you need some bait is down below. We'll see you on the next Bama Saltwater Fishing video. Most importantly, and as always, I want to thank the good Lord up above for everything He does for us. We'll see you later.